This is the one and only Trailer Park Trash, Ohio Valley Wrestling original, and you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live and in Color with Wolfie D and my man Jimmy across the street. Jimmy, how are you this morning, my friend?
Brother. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, but it's been a bit of a downer for the past couple days here, you know.
Yeah, man. This week has been like an incredibly morbid week. Not only, man, for wrestling. I mean, obviously, this is a wrestling podcast, and we're going to talk, about Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Man, I mean, one of the greatest, and probably Bray was going to be. I mean, already one of the greatest, but you know what I mean as far as
right.
Harry's age and his longevity and things like that. And even last week, I mean, heck, we talk about the Tennessee Titans in football. And, I'm not sure if some of our listeners know that Caleb Farley's father was killed in a freak accident of his $2 million home just exploding. They think, I guess, a gas leak or whatever. But
in the town I live in, that's
yeah. I mean, just crazy week, man, for stuff like that. I mean, and not to mention, I mean, people that don't make headlines, of course, and the Pittsburgh shooting and the California bar shooting, and it just seems like this week has been like people just dying, and I know people die every day. I'm not saying that, but it's just been really like in your face. And to me, it's one of those things, and I think I've said this on here before. It's just, my mom always taught me, the never hang up without saying I love you. Never walk out the door without saying, goodbye, I love you.
Right.
If you got people that you care about out there, let them know that, because again, and sometimes I sound like a broken record on some of the things that I say, but man, if you got somebody you care about out there, a friend, a family member, whatever, maybe you're not on speaking terms, unless it's something just really absurd, I would squash it and, tell them that you care about them, because you just never know, man. You're just not guaranteed. And it makes me think, and I don't mean to get too deep on this before we get into our show, but 3 years ago, I had a massive pulmonary embolism, which if I hadn't gotten to the hospital in time, would have killed me. A year later.
Yeah.
The Widowmaker was a year later. That's right. Another one where if I hadn't got to the hospital in time, I would have died. So you just, and I felt fine an hour before both of those things happened. Had no clue, man, that anything was wrong with me as far as that goes. And so it's just, man, it's cliche, but life is too short, man. Life is too short. And, Terry Funk, man, one of the greatest. I think I met Terry once or twice. I mean, I know I met him at least once and talked to him, and everything that everybody says about him, man, he talked to you like he knew you for years. And absolutely the same thing with Bray. He, and I don't mind saying this, he came to visit not me, but another wrestler friend of mine at rehab in Tampa. I'm not going to put that person out because I haven't asked their permission to say that, but Bray was not in it. He was just coming to visit that person, and I met him there. And man, I was shocked. He knew my history. He acted like he knew me forever, and talked just like we was friends for a long time. That just said to me, man, this guy's, he's one of the boys,
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Terry is on my Mount Rushmore, and just I love everything about Terry. And, they kind of reminded me of each other because, Terry sometimes, if he didn't like the way the story was going or what he was doing, he would just dip. you know?
Yeah.
And that's why you would see him all over the world. And then also the genius that he was one of the first of the boys to work in Hollywood. And the only reason he did that was for the insurance that's provided by Screen Actors Guild. And so like you can't, it's hard to get insured, as you know, or it's also very expensive to get insured as a professional wrestler unless you've got someone that, you know, you're married to that has a job that has it or something to that effect. So what he would do is to provide insurance for his family. He would do like 4 or 5 acting gigs a year and have that Screen Actors Guild insurance. And I think that's genius, dude. That is a true working. You know, I always loved that about him, you know, and it's cool to see him in movies and stuff. Over the Top. I mean, Roadhouse. I mean, he was on Quantum Leap. I mean, dude, there's so many great movies he was in that just, I love Terry Funk. And then honestly, Bray Wyatt kind of reminded me a little bit of Terry Funk, not necessarily in the gimmick or really even the wrestling style, but sometimes it felt like when the storyline wasn't going like he liked it, he would dip, you know, and now I know, you know, they released him and stuff, and then I know he had been dealing with this illness, and I think it said that he had a heart attack after having COVID, and they were even preparing, you know, a storyline for him to come back because they thought he had kind of gotten over it, and boom, drop like that, man. That just tells you that if a 36-year-old what you would consider a healthy, active man can drop, that tells you that it ain't promised tomorrow, folks. No. Really, you're
not even next hour, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And I like I said, I didn't know either one of them super well, but I know people that do. And so my condolences go out to those people and to obviously to their families, and to the families of the other folks that I spoke about, and hell, to people that I don't even know about that lost someone this week. You know, it's life. It could be brutal, but like I said, man, I'm one of those people that I feel like, man, you should always tell the people close to you and that you care about, that you love them, because
amen.
It's just cliche, but tomorrow's not guaranteed.
So true.
But as hard as this is, man, to somehow segue into our show today, you know, one of my good buddies, man, who I'm glad we're getting an opportunity to talk to.
Yes.
It's been quite a long time, and, you know, kind of goes to my point of keep in touch with the people you care about, because this is the dude, I've had some good times with him. Frank Miller, Trailer Park Trash, man. He OVW original, and like I said, just he was always a fun guy to be around. He's definitely one of the boys.
Right.
Some people that don't really understand what that means, because some people say, I'm one of the boys. No, you ain't. No, you're not. You're a wrestler, weekend warrior guy. But no,
right.
No, he's definitely one of the boys. He was trained by one of the best, Danny Davis, and we all know how I feel about him. So, you know, we love on this show, you know, me and you talk about this when we're planning stuff, that we love to laugh, man. And again, we had to acknowledge the stuff at the beginning, but I feel like let's have a little laughter. I know both of those guys laughed a lot. So I know Trailer Park laughs, and I know he's a funny dude. And I think we should go take a break and, you know, say a prayer for those families and come back and let's talk to my man, Trailer Park Trash.
All right. After these messages. Couldn't say it better.
Hey folks, to get your official Live It in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to prowrestlingtees.com/live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, guys, we are back. And once again, what a great guest we got today. Somebody that I personally really like and professionally really like working with years ago. And I haven't talked to you. This is actually, you're hearing us talk for the first time in probably quite a few years. Ladies and gentlemen, Trash.
What's up, my man?
What's going on?
I was trying to think earlier how long it's been since we actually have seen each other, much less talked.
I was thinking that too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I came up to OVW when Danny was still around, and I came in as Wolfie D just for a one-time thing. I don't remember if you were there or not.
Yeah, but you was there after that with the Disciples.
Was I? Yeah, maybe so.
Remember you was with the Disciples with Sin
I thought that was after.
Yeah, I think Wolfie came back as Wolfie after Slash.
Yeah, just for one time.
Me and you worked together. We worked together at the new arena in Louisville for when Nick Dinsmore was having his amateur shows.
Yeah. That's
he would have that. He did the 10-week gimmick for a new class, and then they got to have a show, and he'd bring in some of the old guys that do a couple.
And for those people that don't know, so man, you were there like from the get-go and everything with Danny Davis, and when he first started everything. Talk about Danny a little bit. We've had Flash on, we've had Nick on, and heck, I even saw Danny for the first time in forever at Jerry Jarrett's funeral, and he don't want to do nothing wrestling related, but I'm trying like hell to get him. But yeah, talk about Danny and training with Danny, man.
Man, Danny was awesome. I was lucky to actually, get with Danny while he was still on the road working.
Yeah.
And, Danny, it was all in ring with Danny. The training. It wasn't him standing on the outside pointing fingers.
Yeah.
And man, it was just Danny was old school, man. When I first started, I mean, for a long time, you just got the shit beat out of you. I mean, that was basically class. You get your ass whooped. And then finally you just, he figures you're dumb enough to keep hanging around or you're not dedicated. So then you move on from there.
Right.
Man, I love Danny like a dad. Danny, I learned so much about life with Danny, man, just about how being a man. And honestly, because Danny will tell you if you ever get him to talk. When I first met Danny, man, I was a very shy, like 19-year-old kid. I had trouble looking at him in the face, in the eyes, just talking to him about joining the school.
Right.
And he just, he's such a great guy, man. I mean, there's nobody better to work with. And when years on later, when I kind of took over OVW for a while for him and wrote TV and whatnot, it was all me.
Yeah.
It was just he kind of stood back out of the way and handled other things, but everything to do with the business part was me.
That says a lot.
And I just did everything that Danny taught me.
That says a lot about you, I think, that Danny Davis would give you the reins like that. That ought to make you feel really good,
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man, for the reputation OVW has, too, just, at one time it was called the Harvard of Pro Wrestling Schools. It's just, look at the guys that, my God.
Yeah, a shit ton of stars.
Attitude there. 70-80% of the roster in WWE, I think the attitude area was Danny.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you worked with most of them just like I did. I mean, it's so funny because it's funny to me, and I don't know about you, but like some of these like Orton and Batista and Brock and those guys, man, and Shelton, but like I don't remember ever thinking to myself, man, this motherfucker's going to be a star. I mean, I knew they were getting paid and stuff, so I knew they were going to do something with them. But you know what I'm saying? Did you see it right off the bat?
I never dreamed they'd be the fucking megastars. I mean, look at Batista.
Movie star.
I knew he had high ambitions. And he had the work ethic, and you knew them guys were going to go up there and make money.
Right.
I just didn't really see any of them. Honestly, I kind of seen Brock killing somebody before he ever. I did. I thought, man, this guy. But I was fortunate enough. I met Brock way before he come to OVW with Kurt Hennig.
Oh yeah.
Because I met Kurt in Puerto Rico, and me and Kurt, got to be pretty good friends. And Kurt and Brock were real good buddies.
Oh okay.
And Kurt, I think I don't know if Kurt had anything to do or not with hooking Brock up with Vince and getting sent to OVW or not, but I know Kurt was pushing Brock at the time to come to OVW.
So how long did you stay? How long did you stay in Puerto Rico with Henning?
He come in. I was down there for like 6 months. He come in. You know, he didn't stay. He would fly in on Friday. You know, stay overnight. You know, 1 or 2 shows and then go back home.
He was absolutely one of my favorites as a child. I love him.
Yeah,
I liked him.
Man,
he was awesome.
I got to work him a few times down there. It was just butter.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, man. Just
any funny stories from just hanging out with him?
You know, he liked the rib guys and stuff, but you know, down there, I don't know if he was just kind of, you know, a little bit different than normal or whatnot. He just, you know, he was kind of there about business and ready to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Was it Vader's in there or something?
Yeah, he didn't really go out and do much. You know, the times he come down when I was down there.
Right.
But you know, we remained talking. You know, we kept talking on the phone, and whenever he was close to town or you know whatnot for a little bit, and then unfortunately later on, you know what happened. But but that's when I first met Brock, and then the first time I had to get in the ring with him is, you know, damn, dude. You know, I mean, I'm not a small guy. I'm not huge either, but man, he picked me up and threw me. It was like, oh shit, brother.
Yeah.
Can I just wrestle a bear or something?
Yeah, this ain't. You know, you ain't college wrestling, man. You know, but he got to be. You know, before he left, before I left for a little bit anyway. He got to be a pretty good workman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he was just you know, he didn't like very few people there. Him and Danny are still to this day really good friends.
Really?
And like I said, you know, I mean, I don't know if I know he didn't hate me. You know, he liked me and respected me, and that was good enough for me because the ones he didn't, they just stayed out his damn way.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember this kid's name. He was a student of Danny's and, you know, got to making it to the shows and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't remember the kid's name for nothing, but Brock come back one night after a match and this kid in the locker room, and this kid was sitting on the bench. And I don't even know exactly what the hell he said to Brock, but Brock just turned around and slapped the holy piss out of him. I mean,
wow.
I mean, down goes Frazier, man. This kid flew off the bench down to the ground. And, you know, and Brock just kept on to say, you know, it was like, damn, you know. Like when the monsters come in, man, it really got it, you know, we went from just being a little small promotion to all of a sudden, damn, you know, to be something.
Yeah.
But I agree with you though. I seen all of them being stars, but not the mega stars they went on being, and good for them, you know. Shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just remember, you know, and I've told this before on here, just, you know, when I was doing Slash, I was taking a Greyhound bus from fucking Nashville to Louisville. Somebody picked me up. I'd stay with Cornette and all that shit. And, you know, I wasn't getting paid very much at all. And then, you know, these guys are there and I know I could work circles around all of them. And I knew, you know, they got apartments and fucking a paycheck. And it's like, this is bullshit right here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, man, it definitely was, it just.
I mean, guys like me, you, Flash, Sean Casey, Chris Michaels. Yeah, those are just a number of us that were, it's almost like we kind of got overlooked or used in a way, you know, because they knew, okay, put them in there with these guys.
Well, that's what I was kind of going to say. You know, we were there for a reason. You know, them the guys wasn't just getting, you know, taught in a class. I mean, they were getting hands-on experience. That's all they had. All of us working on those guys all the time.
Yeah, and the reason was season.
Yeah, exactly. And I got to admit, sometimes, you know, I get a little aggravated. I'll read something about this or about that, and you know what? You know, that's right. But you're leaving out, you know, a lot of guys that these guys might not be what they are today if they wasn't for a bunch of us guys.
Right. True. Can't Trailer Park Trash get a superhero or something? Come on, man. You know?
I mean, shit, man. You know, and you know that I think that was pretty much meant to be a joke.
Really?
Well, I do want to hear that. Yeah. Tell me that. Yes, please.
You know how that come up. I was Jack Slayer, and Danny had called me up like a Friday night, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go work Memphis TV?" You know, that's the reason I got in the game. You know, that was anything else after that didn't matter. I mean, that was my glory right there.
Right.
And so me and Sean Venom, so we got together and left later at night and got to Memphis. And Lawler, we got there to the TV, and Lawler called me in his, little bathroom, locker room office, and looked at me. And I had long, scraggly hair, just half unshaven, shit-looking goatee and whatnot. He said, "You look like trailer park trash." And that's exactly how that come up.
Is that right? I never knew that.
That's exactly how it come up, man.
That's good.
I swear I don't think he had any idea what he was going to call me or do with me or anything until I walked in there.
That's funny. I never knew that. That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, and you know what?
Danny,
go ahead.
Back to Danny. Danny's the one that, not long into that gimmick, Danny seen, he said, "Man, we're going to get you over." And, and I laughed at, who's going to be hollering, "Go trash, go," But and I don't know really, I was still green as grass. I just did what Danny told me to do. But the point of it was, all of a sudden I become one of those people sitting out in the crowd because I actually was.
Yeah.
I grew up from day one. I can remember a wrestling fan and a horse fan.
Yeah. Hey, that's one thing. I don't want to get off the wrestling for too long, but I do definitely want to talk about kind of what you're doing. You train them and race them too, and all that. Tell everybody what that's all about.
Yeah, I'm a trainer. My grandpa was involved. Growing up, I was damn near raised at the racetrack as a little kid, and then but he always made sure I got home by noon on Saturdays to watch wrestling. That was the only two things I did. But anyway, it just, like wrestling, it got in my blood, and I fooled with it a little bit back in the day when I was still wrestling, but, never, I kept one horse here and there, but got into it kind of more seriously about 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, so I've been training for 16 years, but, basically, you try to get clients, people that's willing to invest their money in whatever kind of horse they want, however much money they want to spend.
Right.
And you try to find the best you can for that money. And, I use a lot of things from training guys in wrestling, honestly,
really?
With the horses, as far as fitness and things of that nature. And that's really the main part of the game is to get your horse, fit and sound, keep it sound and happy and run it in the right spot in the condition. And if you do that, a lot of times it works and you win a race,
Have you had any go to some big races?
No, man. I'm a blue collar trainer, so to speak. I don't get clients that's got millions and millions of dollars to spend and to do all that shit. I get groups of 2 or 3, 4 buddies that want to get together because it's an expensive ass. I'm lowball. I'm on the lowball on my pricing, but I'm at $85 a day right now for per horse per day.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm cheap. Some trainers are $125, $150 per day per horse.
Yeah, that's a realm that I don't really know much about, man. But I just think it's cool. That that's kind of something that you do.
It is, man, and I just love horses. I love being around them. Horses are really very therapeutic. And
really, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I don't speak for myself with all the concussions and shit. I'm about half stupid. So, it really, that's the brightest part of my day every day. And that's we work 7 days a week.
Really,
you got to. Yeah, I've got 5 employees under me. And, we got to make sure all the horses get trained and bathed every day and fed, stalls clean. It's daily. There's no off because you're sick.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, man, for last 16 years, and then I've been away from OVW, I guess, about 8 years now, I guess. But I think I was 6 or 7 years with Danny, at the last trip.
Right. Well, I'm gonna let Jimmy jump. I'm gonna tag out real quick for Jimmy to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, man. Well, so
my man, again, nice to meet you. But I'm open book. Don't fear to ask me a damn thing because I will promise you, I will answer it.
Okay, well, really tell me what you think of that bastard Wolfie D. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just so you're talking about starting all the way back to USWA there, and Jerry Lawler giving you that name. Then I see you work guys like Bart Sawyer and Flash. Now, had you known Flash before that, and then you worked together at USWA, or did you kind of meet up there? Tell us a little bit about your time working Flash.
Well, man, I met Flash. I first met Flash at Danny's.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Flash was working for Jimmy in Smoky Mountain. Or he just actually, when I first met Flash, he had just started for Jimmy.
Okay.
Smoky Mountain, and he was doing shows for Danny, but it wasn't long after that Smoky Mountain folded up. But Flash would come and work the shows for Danny. And so that's how I got met. Actually, I think one of my very first matches was Flash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
And you know, and it was god awful because I was horrible. But you know, I guess, you know, Flash took a liking to me or whatever. We just become friends after that. And, you know, I love him like a brother. Flash is, me and Flash has got some stories together.
He's great. Yeah. One of our top 5 shows all time is Flash Flanagan. So, yeah.
Flash is something else, man. He just, you can't help but love the bastard. You know, I used to call him big stupid, you know, all kinds of shit. You big goofy bastard. And he you know.
That's it.
And, you know, and outside of working like Wolfie and some of the other guys, man, me and Flash clicked. You know, we just together or, you know, working each other.
Yeah.
We did a lot of that hardcore shit. And but, you know, we made it mean something, you know. It wasn't like all this other shit you was seeing like Ian Rotten's where you know, people's just, you know, not selling. And, you know, me and Flash still made sense with it, you know.
Yeah.
And people, you know, shit.
One of my
was great. Young Wolfie, man. I met Wolfie, I think it was my second weekend in Memphis. And for whatever reason, man, him and Jamie and Randy Hales invited me to ride with them to Nashville.
Oh, Lord.
And they kind of, well, I mean, you know, like, again, man, I don't know. I know a lot of the certain respect I got in the early days was because Danny trained me.
Yeah.
Guys that Danny trained and that Danny would vouch for, like going to Lawler. Right. You know, you just automatically got a little bit of respect because they knew you know, you might be stupid, but you wasn't a fucking dumbass. If you wasn't, Danny would sent you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember we went to we went all kinds of places before we made it to Nashville. But man, I'll never forget that trip. It was great because I respected these guys, man. You know, it was to me, it was awesome just being with them. I mean, it really just.
I tell you, one of my favorite things, one of my favorite spots, and just memorable moments. Even it was in Nashville. It was for Bert and you and Flash. Remember when y'all hung me out of the balcony by my neck?
Oh man,
that shit was awesome. And the reaction from the people was so different. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a big bump reaction. It was people screaming, "Oh my God!" You know. Ah!
Well, damn, man, we went up to the second floor.
Yeah.
And hung you off the damn balcony. I mean, you had to be, what, 8-10 feet in the air?
Yeah, something like that.
and we had a chain wrapped around your neck.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, the way everything was positioned, if your hands for some reason let go, you were fucked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then we had we had the safe word. Remember, I said, listen, I'll stay there as long as I can. When you hear me say kayfabe, because nobody really knew what that meant back then, I could get away with it. And that was the safe word. It was kayfabe. But when I said kayfabe, they dropped me.
I think me and you was working. Bullshit. You know, setting up for that spot, basically.
Yeah. And I tell you, I think this was you. You tell me if I'm wrong, and we'll edit it out. But I think this was you. Me and you, and I almost want to say Vic, the Bruiser. Maybe all of us went out in Louisville one night before Danny's show or something like that. And didn't you, you stayed at that first building, or something like that. And then I slept. I guess I was so drunk, I fucking slept in the ring. And woke up to Danny flipping the light on over the ring and telling me to get up. Do you remember that?
Yeah, man, because I lived upstairs in the,
okay. Yeah.
I lived upstairs in the I guess you want to call it the attic of the school. But if you remember, the fucking school had no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And the only heat in the fucking wintertime was when he had a show or in his office. Because a lot of times he stayed all night and downstairs in the office and the locker room.
Yeah.
So, again, but, and it's a funny reason how I lived there is, with the trailer park trash gimmick one shot and listening to Danny and doing what he said. I mean, he got me pretty damn over there.
Yeah.
And, so, I was a good draw for him at the time, and my dumb ass had got in trouble for something, and he helped me out a little bit. Well, then I got in trouble again, and this time the old man had to come out and bring, I think it was $10,000 cash to bail me out.
Holy
And I
crap.
swear to this day, as much as he says he loves me like a son, and I love him like I love him to death, I got nothing but respect for Danny, and I always will. If we didn't have a show the following night, this was supposed to be a big night, he would come back. I swear.
Oh, man.
But I remember, how open are we on this show?
We're open as you want to be, man.
All right. Well, I remember we did a show somewhere out in LaGrange.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back, I had some local little rat with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and I've been drinking, obviously.
Yeah.
I remember I pulled off to the side of the highway because I had to piss. And I had my lights out and shit. And I go up there and, do my thing, get back in the car. Well, there was a fucking cop behind me the whole time with his lights out. I never seen him. Well, he kicks his lights on. Of course, I had a little bag of gimmick.
Yeah.
And I'm, handing this to her. Here, stick this up your thing, whatnot. And so they pull her out up to the side of the hill, and then, I'm sitting up there too. And they bring in the dog, and I'm sitting there thinking, thank God. Well, she fucking stuffs it in the seat. Dog sniffs it right at me. But so that's what I got busted for.
Oh.
And yeah, man. And the next day I was there overnight. Obviously, this was I think on a Friday night. But the next day, Saturday, it was in the afternoon. After talking to Danny 2 or 3 times, he showed up with the cash and got me out.
What was his demeanor?
After that,
what was his demeanor when you came walking out of there?
Oh, dude. You can imagine. I was scared to death to say a fucking word.
I bet.
I kind of got the lecture. I mean, he wasn't, I really expected him to be backhanding me and shit. Because when they told me, got just a little paperwork to do, bail's been posted, I knew he's the only person that had the money, or that could have done it anyway, or would have.
Yeah.
So I knew it was him, and I'm thinking, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to this motherfucker or not. But I was living in a little apartment over by Churchill Downs, and that's why I lived at the school. He made my ass move in at the school.
Huh. Keep you in line. I do. Now that you elaborated, I do kind of remember all that. Wild times. We've all done a bunch of stuff we might not do again, but hell, we blast.
we had, that was the thing. I was living, you assume. I mean, I was living a life, man. I was, living a childhood dream. I mean,
right.
I've been very fortunate. I had 2 dreams as a child, and I've lived them and have lived both. Training horses and wrestling. Man, it just. Like I said, anything that happened after Memphis didn't matter to me, anything in the WWE or any of that crap, because Memphis was my thing, man. That was, I didn't really get in the business over money. I got in the business because I loved the business.
Right.
And I just wanted to so bad be a part of it. And,
yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I did many nights when I was real young. I go to Little Garden by myself on Tuesday night and, just watch them out, man. I just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I'm looking at I did a lot of research on your matches, and I mean, brother, like 6 whole pages of probably 1,000 matches I've looked at, not watched the matches, but looked at the history of it. And I did see, you kind of did the USWA deal where Bart Sawyer, Flash Flanagan, some other guys, and then you came directly, it looks like, to Bert Prentice, basically. You started working for his North American All-Star Wrestling, where guys like Colorado Kid, Shane Eden, then of course you worked Vic the Bruiser at OVW and other things like that. But talk about working for Bert around that time, especially, Bert's, we talk about Bert all the time on here, so.
Man, I love Bert. He is what he is. He's a shyster, and you knew it. But who didn't like Bert? Really.
Right.
I mean, he always had a scam.
Of course.
I think and honestly, it's sad. I'm sad to say this, but I didn't believe the cancer deal for actually a long time.
I remember that.
I just can't believe But man, I love Bert was fun. I got a good Bert story.
Yes.
Because Bert drooled at the mouth over the pretty boy.
Yeah.
So Bert's, we're in Nashville, and Bert's like, can you bring somebody with me next week? I want to just basically have send me a jobber out for TV at night. I don't remember what he's trying to build me up for. I think it might have been the Colorado Kid, because I worked him quite a bit in the USWA.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm telling Bert, in my mind, I'm explaining a young Nick Dinsmore who just kind of like started.
Yeah.
The young 18-year-old tan boy all muscled up, and Bert's sitting there licking his lips and, oh, yes. Well, I bring this guy with me that we called him Waylon.
Uh-huh.
And he looked like Fred Flintstone. Just a big mopping head on him and just fat with, looks like homemade tattoos here and there and shit.
Yeah.
So, we go into the next Saturday night, whatever it was, we go to the locker room, and Bert's like, did you bring him? I'm like, yeah, and Waylon's standing there with me, and Bert's like, where is he? And I said, he's right here, Bert. And I put my hand around Waylon, and Bert looked at me, and he took his finger, he said, I got to talk to you. He was madder than son of a bitch. And I'll never forget that, because he was pissed. Later on, I brought him Nick, and he, of course, he was all right with it then, but. Bert. Man, I like working for Bert. You had a lot of creativity in what you did yourself.
Yeah.
And what you was doing. Bert, one of those guys that come and tell you everything he wanted you to do from start to finish. Hey, I want you to help get this guy over for me, or hey, we're building you up for this, and that's all you needed to know.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So I like working for Bert.
Yeah. You're kind of like me, man. Especially if you're in the wrestling business, especially back then, man. You run into some really shady people and all that, and you just have to take people as what they are. If going in,
it is what it is, man.
This guy's
it is what it is.
You just know that.
But it didn't mean you didn't have to like him.
Right.
It's kind of like nowadays with just even, and I won't get into politics, but just because of one side or the other, it's like, you can't have a friend that's a Republican or a liberal or a Democrat, because you got to hate him if you do.
Right.
Not years later. You could be what you want and still be somebody a person likes. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that we don't agree on shit, and you know what? We just don't talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I said, man, like I said, Bert, you knew what you got, but I love working for him, and he was always good to me. I don't never have nothing bad to say about Bert.
Right.
Man, you tagged, when it changed from North American to MCW, you got to tag with somebody we love to hear stories about. And this guy is legendary. He means a lot to Wolfie. He means a lot to wrestling, especially in the Memphis scene, too, is Billy Travis, man. Do you have anything you can talk about, Billy?
Man, I love work, man. He was, again, that was back when Billy was great.
Yeah.
Billy was great. I remember Jamie fucking with him a lot. We might have been under a little influence of something here and there, and I think it was the snakes that Billy was like, he's scared of or something, and Jamie fucked with him, hollered snake, and Billy fucking turned white and just he's getting this shit out in the ring, we'd be out there in the fucking ring. Billy fucking snake, just funny.
I'm not sure.
And the thing is, everything, fucking people didn't know no damn different.
Yeah.
we're out there having fun and putting on a good show, and you know, they don't see none of that shit. You know, they don't know anything. You know, it was great shit. But the few times I got to work with him and whatnot and be around him, man, you know, I don't have too many bad things to say about too many people. You know, honestly, just.
Billy was hilarious, man. He was a funny dude, man. He really was, you know.
Yeah.
He had
Billy just, you know, he'd have you laughing and shit. You know, the locker rooms in those days were fun to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I can't imagine.
Have guys. Yeah. To me, the fun started going out of it when WWE come, or, you know, WWF in those days, you know, got in our locker room. And, you know, it's tension and shit. You know, it was like, went from being fun and having a good time and trying to sell your product and sell yourself and whatnot to, you know, like, damn, you know, too much stress in here. Hey, shit. That's, you know, that's what I didn't like, you know. I like the little paychecks you got when you went to WWF, but, you know, it was like, man, it wasn't fun to me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it was just stress. You know, it's like, fuck, you know, it's like now, if training horses ever becomes a job for me, I'll probably quit.
Right.
Because I love doing it.
Yeah. Back to Billy real quick, though, the snake thing. We got to talk about that because that was just a thing of his, man, dude. I'm telling you, we were going down I-40, leaving Memphis, you know, probably midnight or something. And he did his deal, man, and that's what triggered it or whatever. It wasn't like he just walked around, you know, people that are listening, he didn't just walk around being scared of snakes all the time. But he do his little gimmick, and man, he was driving, and he starts telling me that it's coming through the vents and all this shit, and then he fucking pulled the car over on the side of I-40, got down like in a push-up position, looking all up under the car and shit. I'm like, Billy, get the fucking car, let's go. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Well,
I don't know what that was about. Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope-ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Steve Bowtie Bryant here. Back in the 90s, I was a pro wrestling photographer for the South, and I released what might have been one of the original sets of indie trading cards. I ran across some of these original sets. They were up in Randall Fanning's attic all this time. PG-13 rookie card, Ricky Morton, George Weingroff as the Sheep, Chris Champion, Reno Riggins, Billy Montana, Gary Valiant, the Scorpion, the Medic, Rick Reynolds, Jeff Daniels, Mephisto and Dante, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, Marcus Woodrow, Clinton Charisma, Little Farmer John. If you'd like an opportunity to get these cards, contact me now. You can get them for only $49.99. Contact me at stevebowtiebryant at iCloud.com. Get your set now while supplies last.
Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Benji Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbowie34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the Rockstar Realtor.
Benji is a member of Exit Realty's Garden Gate team in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Okay, well, kind of leading out into, you know, we talked about Billy there, but then, you know, kind of, I'm just going through your history here. Then it leads you to IWA Mid-South. Now, you worked Ian and Axel, Ox Harley, you worked with Madman Pondo. Can you tell us a little bit about the time there? Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. What were your thoughts of working IWA?
You know, man, I'll get to the negatives in a minute. The positives I had working out there, that was it. Okay, now we'll go to the negatives.
I thought we lost you.
I did too. I thought he hung up.
I'm still here. Honestly, the only reason I worked there, and I never really, I don't even know if I ever found out Danny's reasoning for it, but, you know, because Danny, you know, like a lot of other people, as far as the feelings for you go.
Yeah.
But Danny, we were running, a show out on Dixie at one of the high schools, Valley, I think it's called, Valley High School. Mm-hmm. And Ian come one night. I think Danny was just trying to not have some damn inner city war. Yeah. Have them, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So trying to create a little working relationship with them. So, Danny had sent me out there to work a few Ian shows. And he, actually, I got to know Bull Plain, I guess there's a positive. Bull's one of the guys, good friends that I got to meet and work with and whatnot from that. Me and Bull later on worked a bunch for Les Thatcher in Ohio.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went out there, worked a few shows for, doing what Danny said, but protecting myself. Well, then back then he had a big show like once a year in New Albany that, you're like 600 people or something like that. Uh-huh. And he had me on the main event with Pondo. And there's never no disrespect to Pondo or whatnot, but his style and my style just didn't mix for me.
Yeah.
And I just, I said, I'm not going out there and get hit in the fucking head with light bulbs.
Right.
And, I'm not going to do all this fucking shit. Danny trained me different.
Right.
It's a little bit different than going through a fucking table or getting whacked in the head with a chair.
But I imagine with your gimmick, a lot of people assumed that you would just be down for whatever like that. I'm just saying that.
I guess, and you're probably right, but at that point, I still hadn't really. Cornette really helped me with, was really bringing the gimmick out when Corny come in. I still wore shit. Corny's want to come up. They want you to start wearing a white beater T-shirt, blue jeans, and boots. Looks like some bitch from the trailer park.
Yeah.
And so, but I guess I maybe handled it the wrong way because I kind of called Ian out in the locker room in front of everybody. Said I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'll just go home. And it wasn't no disrespect to Pondo at all. He's just got his style in mind, but I just said, thumbtacks and all that shit. I ain't fucking doing it.
Right.
You can't pay me enough. I'm just not doing it. And I was going to have to put him over. I said, you know what Danny Davis would fucking do to me if I put Pondo over in our backyard?
Yeah.
I'm trying to protect myself too, and I was always a company man. It was whatever was best for OVW.
Right.
And so, in fact, I ended up working Shark Boy.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
First 2 or 3 matches.
Yeah.
I ended up working Shark Boy, and then and me and him always got along really good, and I think he put me over. And I went and packed my shit, and of course I got I got to pay you less because you didn't work the main event bullshit. And, went on home, and that was the last time I worked for him.
My biggest complaint with Ian is that he really fucked up Kentucky wrestling. Before Ian Rotten started running shows and doing all that crazy shit, I promise you, not one time. I don't know if it's because Jarrett Promotions took care of all the licenses or not. I never saw a fucking commissioner. I never knew I don't know if I had a license or not. I don't know. And it's like, we fought in the crowd and shit. And now the way it is, how strict they are in Kentucky, it's because of him. I think he fucked it up.
The old commissioner there was forever would pop up here and there to a show, and you got any new guys? Yeah, here's and he put the money in his pocket. I don't even know if I had a license until Tim Gunnerman come along.
Yeah.
I don't, he was just basically taking payoffs. I can't remember Bill Boy's name, but no, he didn't mess with nobody.
Yep.
Whenever he popped up to the show, if he got his little payoff, he didn't worry about nothing. Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. Right.
Because no matter what, you still, as a promoter, had to be bonded. So you can't sue you can't sue the wrestling commission.
Yeah.
You can give a shit, but you're exactly right. And I always felt too, before that shit, kayfabe was still being observed pretty good.
Yeah.
That just, when you see guys, motherfucker, take 3 power bombs and get up and look at you and say, fuck you, it's like, come on, dude. I mean, and I guess that's probably been with every generation of the wrestling because, man, you look way back in the day, body slam or shit would, put the guy over.
Right. Right.
Way back in the day. Haystacks Calhoun and them guys, it didn't take much and you got pinned. That's just, I guess over time it progresses, but But still, man, I agree 100%. That it kind of ruined wrestling around here. And next thing you know, you got all these damn rules. You got to watch it. You know, you got to be careful about smoking your pot or whatever.
Yeah.
He can drug test you now, and a lot of guys just didn't want to come here no more neither.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. But yeah, just all that. And you talking about, kind of the style now, how, of course, everything evolves over time, everything and wrestling has. But the bar has gotten to a point where it's hurting, in my opinion, it's hurting the longevity of the guys' careers. You notice how long dudes are staying in now? Not that fucking long.
No, the days of guys being, like Undertaker and shit, them days are over.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Especially guys being on top for that long.
Right.
Them days are over. And honestly, I believe a lot of that is because until they moved and broke away from Danny and moved to Florida and started, which is now NXT, man, everybody, even those, Brock and all them, they were still old school trained.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember when we were still in Indiana. Man, that place had no fucking heat. Hardly had it had no air.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that was a legit gym. Like, you class or wrestle, you're sweating your ass out. You paid your dues, man. Wasn't nothing handed, even to those guys, wasn't nothing really just handed to them. I mean, they had to work and learn. And if you learn the old school ways, in my opinion, that's where the longevity comes in.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, man, these guys, I mean, what can you do that's going to be more over than something you seen last week? I mean, it's like nothing's built no more.
Right.
Used to, the first match was to bore them to death with nothing but wrestling. Nobody go outside the ring or nothing. The show built per match, which led up to the main event. And you better leave them something, with something left to do.
Yeah. I mean, is there any way to fix that, you think? Is there any way to fix that?
I don't, I do know there are still a ton of old school wrestling fans. I proved that with a town around here outside Louisville, E-Town, Kentucky.
Yeah.
OVW run it for years, and it just got run down, and it got to where it wasn't drawing 20 people. So Danny quit running it. Well, then when I took over OVW, and before I started writing TV, I took over running all the spot shows, promoting them and setting them up and whatnot. And Danny told me, he said, E-Town's just dead. He said, no, it's not, man. It's an old school town. All this bullshit you guys are doing now, they want to see old school wrestling. And we had built it back up to about 300 people, which in that area was a decent little draw.
Yeah.
But over time, I had Dundee out there quite a bit, Tracy Smothers. Then we're still old school Memphis wrestling fans, and that's what they wanted to see. So, I really believe this thing. But, man, everything's been so ruined. Everybody knows everything. Yeah. You got all these marks that's smart. Man, now you got guys that fucking thank each other on social media for what a great match they had.
Yeah.
That irks me to death.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? You're supposed to... The theory of wrestling is the psychology of making these people believe into your characters and what you're doing.
Right. Right.
And how can they believe that if you give them nothing to believe? Because you're telling them it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can they believe anything? And I've always said, even a lot of the marks back in the day, in their mind, they had to know.
Yeah.
But wrestling was like a daytime soap opera that somebody might sit around the house and watch. For that hour or two, you're lost. You're away from the real world.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're consumed in what you're buying and believing and having a good time and getting into it. Well, then you go home and live your normal life for another week.
Well, it's like I've said 1,000 fucking times, man. It's like I enjoy like Chris Angel, David Copperfield, all that kind of stuff. I love magicians. I think it's cool. I know the motherfuckers ain't got superpowers, but I don't know how they do it, and I don't really want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're lost for that hour that you're watching it just because you love it. And wrestling's no different.
Right.
But they don't give people nothing anymore to get lost into. Where's the psychology? Man, I know you didn't, Wolfie. We didn't have guys back there sitting, writing shit and telling us what to say and how to say it and have damn acting coaches and all that shit.
Yeah.
We didn't have all that crap. You learned to do it. You either got it or you didn't.
Right.
And honestly, I never really got it until Danny put me in a program with Rip Rogers for like 6 months. And honestly, I hated it. Working Rip. You know, I was still young at the time. You didn't get to get your shit in. You know, you didn't get to do nothing, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. But that was the best 6 months I think I ever had in my life. Because in the end, you know, it was like I just woke up like one day and was like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know,
Light
and
bulb.
Boom. You know,
yeah. You got any good Rip stories? You have to, right?
Oh, how long of the show do you got?
Tell your story.
I love Rip to death. Rip, man, you know, the first time I met Rip was at Danny's. Mm-hmm. Rip come in. I'm greener than dirt. I might only worked 5-6 matches at that point. But I'm sitting there next to Vic the Bruiser. You know, I love like a brother too. You know, Vic. But anyway, I'm sitting there next to Vic. Here comes Rip. He walks in, sets his bag down, looks around, sees me, walks over in front of me. He's smiling. He takes his hand and reaches down his ass crack and pulls out a butt packing, and he gets right in my face and he puts it in his mouth.
Oh, fuck.
Wow. Whoa.
And I'm not putting it over. I'm just sitting there laughing, you know, because Vic had already warned me. He said, don't, you know, he said, if you put it over, it'll just get worse.
Oh, man.
You know, he said, try not to react. And I don't know, but, you know, man, I love Rip too, man. You know, Rip is Rip. That's for damn sure. But God, man, I remember, you know, him pulling off, leaving Scott Romer at the gas station, Romer running down the fucking road. You know, like we was going to Atlanta because Rip was getting us booked for WCW doing jobs, you know, jobs and shit. So, because Rip was one of those guys, he pull in, you know, if you're going inside to get any of that fucking junk food or whatever, if you're not back by the time this gas tank's full, I'm leaving you, and Rip would fucking leave you.
Wow.
You know, Rip would go in with us to, when we stopped to get the buffet, well, Rip ain't spending no fucking money. You know, Rip sit there and order a glass of water, and fucking people get up and leave their food. Rip grabbed the plate off the table and started eating their fucking leftovers. Rip is something else. I mean, Rip is something else, but I don't think I've ever been around anybody that's more smart to the business.
Yeah.
Of actually, how, you know, teaching you how to work and just the psychology of it, man. You know,
right?
Like, oh, okay, there you go. You know, slam him down to the ground, kick him 4 times. Now you want to pick him up and throw him into the fucking ropes. You fucking idiot! Man, Rip is, you know, and there's a lot of these guys I know that, you know, somebody might, you know, Rip helped make a lot of those guys, man.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, sure. Rip was, you know, and I've always been the same, you know. So I've been training 16 years, and I still look to learn something every day with the horses, just like I did with the wrestling business. No matter how long I was in it, I was like, man, you just, you know. And Ric Flair one time told me in Atlanta, you know, bullshit with me because it comes from Danny's and whatnot and all that. Right. Anyway, said Rip would get a few of us booked, you know, mainly because then that way he would get us booked to do some jobs, so he didn't have to pay for trains. You know, he got us booked, so, you know, we carted his ass around. Yeah. And but just, you know, whenever you think you know everything about your craft, you need to quit because you don't know shit. There's always something new to learn every day, you know, good or bad. That's what I always try to take out of everything. But, man, the times that we had and the fun, so I wouldn't trade it for nothing, man.
Exactly.
You know, I remember one night you and Jamie, when I was living upstairs at Danny's, and I think you and Jamie come to work, and hell, I don't know if I was asleep, whatever. Next thing you know, here the light kicks on. Here you guys are. Hey, Trey, let's on the hood. and off we went, man. You know, it's like, fuck. You know, to me, all that shit has made me who I am now. And you know, really, man, it makes us who we are now, man. And you know, we've lived life and had damn fun. And of course, you know, speaking for myself, I wish I listened more because I'm definitely paying for a lot of shit they told me I'd pay for later. You know, Rip expects, oh yeah, you young fuck full of cum now. Wait about 20 years and tell me how that feels.
Oh, man. Well, you know, speaking to somebody who else, it was very outspoken, you obviously brought him up a little bit earlier, and the listeners always ask this question to Wolfie because we have Ask Wolfie Anything and stuff. But when it comes to Jim Cornette, can you give us a good corny meltdown? Have you ever just seen him lose his absolute mind on somebody?
On somebody or something? Anything,
just whatever. Yeah, whatever.
You know, and I love Jimmy to death. I do, man. Jimmy was always good to me from the extra payoffs. I remember the night I broke my hip at the Gardens. Me and Flash had a street fight that was really phenomenal, fucking thing. And we both showed up TV. I had a crutch, getting out of my car, but we showed up for TV next night. Jimmy gave us both envelopes, like, go home, rest your wounds. You can't do no more after last night. But man, Jimmy was just always good to me, and you learn so much from Jimmy. Jimmy, when I was taking over OVW, was helping me write TV for a little bit. But anyway, back to the story. We was at the Gardens. And I don't remember what the fuck set him off, because it didn't take much anyway. I think he showed up pissed off, and they didn't have, down in the basement, they didn't have his room unlocked yet. So he picked up a folding chair and he beat the fucking door until he beat the door down. And I think it cost Danny about $800.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and of course, everybody knows about, I wasn't there, obviously, but the big Wendy's thing. But, man, that's just, I remember Jimmy chasing the motherfucker in the parking lot, trying to run some bitch over. I can't remember. Man, I've had a lot of concussions, so sometimes if I'm starting to talk about something, then my memory goes to the shits. I can't remember the name or something. But anyway, man, I think, I don't know the whole story of that neither, but Jimmy even mouthed off to Lester. Jimmy didn't give a shit who you were.
He don't care. He don't.
Jimmy didn't give a fuck who you were. He mouthed off to Lesnar. It was always a good thing when you come back after your match and Jimmy was smiling.
Yeah.
And if you really fuck something up, man, Jimmy could go off, boy. It was unreal. See, that we did the door thing. Man, there's so many.
I imagine.
Because you knew the meltdown was coming.
Yeah. Hair trigger. Yeah. Did you ever see him and Danny disagree on anything and go at it, or was he pretty?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Never did. I never one time. I'm sure they had to have, and I know, he pissed Danny off several times because, back in those days, I was Danny's, right-hand man.
Right.
It was for years, for years. But I never seen them too confrontational at all.
Yeah.
I never, but I'd have to, two different people knowing Jimmy the way he is and Danny the way he is. You don't want to fucking piss Danny Davis off neither.
Nope. Not a bit.
And there was times, my recent stay at OVW that, I had to bring him into my office. I'm like, man, shut the door. Damn, Dad, settle down. This motherfucker about to kill somebody. You're going to blow a fucking artery.
Yeah. Oh man.
But Danny, but it took a lot to piss Danny off. But but at the same time, if it had anything to do with hurting the show or the business, then he would snap quick.
Well, and Jim never wanted to do that, so that would probably make them on the same team, because Jim wouldn't want to hurt the show either. That's the other thing.
No, and that's why I say I never seen them confrontational one time. I could ever, like I said, I know they have disagreements and this and that, but who don't? Especially if you're in business together. But I don't ever remember them one time.
Yeah, that's cool. What about Jim and Rip, maybe? Because I can imagine they're similar too, and hair trigger,
Well, man, I know they had issues, but again, I never seen them.
Sure.
But it was they had so much respect for each other for being old school.
Right. Right.
It's just you wasn't going to see it anyway. Be a behind closed doors thing that nobody else is going to see.
Yeah.
That way it didn't hurt anybody's credibility as far as, Jimmy belated him or Rip just really ripped his ass. So you never seen that shit.
Yeah.
Now seeing him going off on somebody, well, all the time. Right, there was a Rip Rogers. There was a time at Danny's, if he was fucking up in your match, Rip would come busting out with a kendo stick and beat the fuck out of you both. It happened many times. If you seen Rip coming out, he's like, oh, fuck.
Oh, what have I done now? Oh, man. Oh.
Yeah, and Rip was so old school, Rip fucked with you in the ring, too. I remember a tag match or 6-man tag. I did some spot and fucked up with Rip. And I think I run over and tagged Rob Conway in real quick, and I said, "Tell Rip I'm sorry." I'm getting the fuck out of here because I know what's happening. He's gonna beat my ass.
That's a good one.
Man. Oh, man. I got to ask, because I know we're kind of bouncing all over the place, but because I know you end up working a lot in Puerto Rico, too. Is there any fun I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but is there anything from Puerto Rico that you remember that was kind of wild as far as any experience there?
Man, probably my exit.
Okay.
It's not the exit style that Wolfie and Jamie went out in.
no ice hot, nothing like that.
It wasn't as good as that. But really, man, working when I first got down there, I was stuck real quick in the program with man, here I go with the name shit. But the son bitch is Stab Brody. Invader.
Oh man.
Invader.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, again, we got along. Of course, I was going to get along with him. I'm thinking, I'm a first Stab Brody. Who am I?
Right. Right.
They might not even find my body, so I ain't gonna fuck with him. And I'm new here. I'm just gonna, old school. Shut. Be here on time. Shut the fuck up and do what I'm told. And collect my check. But he took a liking to me. Man, he would get me so fucked up. He made his own rum. And he'd bring that shit to the fucking shows. And man, it would be 4 or 5 shots of that shit, and I'd be fucking drunk.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of good times down there. I really did. I mean, I was really, other than my exit, I really can't bitch about nothing down there. I met a lot of guys I still stay in contact with. That was one of my biggest things is all the friends I made throughout the years that I stay friends with now. Because, man, we all got the thing in common. It's still a brotherhood no matter what. Yada, yada. But, yeah, I really liked it in Puerto Rico, man. For the time I was there. And I went back later on and worked Flash for the Christmas shows for Savio. Several years later, and I really enjoyed that. I don't know if Flash ever brought this story up, but I saved Flash's life.
Oh, really?
I say yes. I saved his fucking life. And not bragging on it. Thank God I wasn't as fucked up as he was, is all. The thing back in the day in Puerto Rico, you go down there, you go to the pharmacy and get you some fucking somas.
Right. Yeah.
And I love those fucking things, man. So that was Flash picked me up at the airport, first stop, Pharmacia, baby.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So, but that first night, I think it might be my first night there for those particular shows. Mm-hmm. I think we worked, and I think Flash had got some steaks, maybe it was. And so we were grilling out. He had the gimmick apartment from the office. And I guess he ate too many fucking somas, and I looked over, man, he's passed out in the fucking couch with a mouthful of steak. A fucking mouthful.
Oh, bro.
And so I dragged this mother. He's out. I dragged this motherfucker over to the garbage can, putting my fucking fingers in his mouth, digging all his food out his fucking mouth and shit. You stupid motherfucker. You fucking die on me tonight, you cocksucker. No, they ain't got paid yet. The fuck? I love Flash though. But yeah, man, I know somebody would have choked to death that night. I guarantee he was out.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing I didn't do neither at some point.
Right.
I love them damn things, man. When I get down there, boy, I'd stay fucking up. I'd eat them things like candy.
That was a thing in the 90s for sure.
Yeah, man. You gonna hit me 3 or 4 times? Go ahead, fuck. Man. Or you get the taxi driver, man. That's where I got my pot from. Go down there to the taxi stand and give fucking one of them $5 and ride you around the block so you go back pot.
Yeah.
I like it down there eating on pinchos after the shows. Fuck, that was it was like $1 a stick, man. Hell, you get 5 sticks. That was fuck eating cheap.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That was back. Subway had the 3 for $10 footlongs too.
Right.
You eat for $10 for the whole day.
Yeah.
There was a time in Puerto Rico that we're in the middle of the ring and somebody threw one of those empanadas at us, and it hit Jamie like right in the face, right? And people, I mean, it's a big crowd, and they popped like crazy, but they popped even bigger when he picked it up and ate it.
Oh man! Oh man!
Fucking classic.
Yeah,
That's classic.
It's great.
Hey,
Only
at least
Jamie.
it was that, not a fucking rock.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah, or a
that was
battery.
the first time I ever worked where people were throwing shit at you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean,
Ow.
and I've heard they throw batteries down there. Are they that cheap? Because batteries are high, man. They're not cheap.
Hey,
Maybe
I know if you got heat and you fucked up, you did the gimmick or whatever to get over, you better get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, man, them guys, they'd be throwing shit, rocks. Get your ass back in the locker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, Trash, it's been great talking to you, man. We're kind of running on our time here. Jimmy, do you got any final questions for him before we wrap it up?
I mean, honestly, there's so many. We just probably need to have a part 2. But I would say this, working all through OVW. Now, we know the guys who made it, right? And I know, let's take the Wolfies, the Chris Michaels, the Sean Caseys out of it. Maybe, maybe not. But is there one guy through OVW time that you worked with and you were like, I don't necessarily see it this guy, but this guy's got it. He's going to be I promise. I feel like this guy's going to do it. Was there anybody through that OVW time that you just said, this is the dude?
Man, there were several guys.
Yeah.
But one bad thing about the wrestling business was, sometimes it didn't matter how good you were. You just needed to be in the right place at the right time.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so there was really several guys. None of them that I would, if I could remember the name, probably nobody, you'd hear of. But I'll tell you what, I'll take it back. One in particular, Jason Wayne.
Okay.
When I went back to OVW 15 years ago, whatever the hell it was, they had this kid, Jason Wayne. And, man, he was just a young, good-looking kid, athletic, just still green. But, I mean, man, just, it was like, man, this kid's got the look. And he's good, for where he's at this time, part of the game.
Yeah.
I got him hooked up. I did a show. Actually, it was the first show Lawler come back after his heart attack.
Gotcha.
It was in Mississippi at a fair show for Kenny Wayne.
Okay.
And he had me bring, some OVW guys down, and Jason was one of them. And I tell you who, and I told him about him, and then he watched him work and whatnot. And he actually got him a call. I'm talking about downtown Bruno. Because Bruno was there as ref and whatnot. Right. And, he was just, this kid caught your attention, man. It's like, man, this kid's got it. And with the right people behind him, like up there, fuck, you get acting coaches and all this shit. I mean, he was a guy I thought I could see being a star.
Yeah.
And he actually got a call, and for whatever reason, it wasn't a good time in his life or something. Him and his wife were and he was a Marine. He was actually in the Marines, but he served his time, had been out. He was like mid-20s.
Yeah.
And he turned the offer down to come up.
Wow.
So they could get a look at him and shit. And I begged him. I said, man, you might never get that call again.
Yeah.
But Jason Wayne would stick out more than any of them as somebody I thought would have been, and a really good guy too.
Yeah.
But there was others, but Jason sticks out more than any.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
But real quick, let me end with this real quick story of Nick Dinsmore, because I didn't get to bring up Nick. I got a couple good ones on Nick Dinsmore, but when Nick first joined Danny's school, a little young strapping thing, and he had a hot girlfriend, man. And I told him, I said, I thought I was fucking with. I said, Nick was always eating healthy fucking rice cakes and shit. I told him, I said, I promise you, if you're in this fucking business a year, your little girlfriend, fiance is going to be gone, and you're going to be eating fucking White Castles. And of course it happened. But then Nick's first trip to Memphis, I took him to Memphis, and of course we had to stay at the Admiral. And
the Admiral
we go in the room, and there's a pair of dirty women's underwear on top of the lampshade.
Oh, man.
And Nick's like a 19-year-old kid who was, football star for Providence and mommy's boy. Never been to the hood. Damn sure. And it was funny as hell, man. He did, they had a fucking lamp in the bathroom with the cord. The cord was duct taped together and then plugged into the fucking wall. And that, but yeah, Nick Dinsmore, man, I love, another kid that comes through OVW
I remember Nick when he was first breaking in. I stayed with him. Who was it? Him and Derek and somebody else. They all kind of stayed together. I can't remember who else it was, but yeah. Nick from back then, man. Lots of fun times, man.
Man, well, hey, brothers, I enjoyed this very much. I don't do podcasts or anything. I just don't watch wrestling anymore. I don't knock it. It's not my cup of tea. I prefer to have my memories of the old days, and I love following my old buddies and stuff with social media and stuff like that. Yeah. So honestly, I think this may be only second podcast I've ever done.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, man, I love you to death, Wolfie. You guys, you guys brought me. You guys took me under your wing a little bit at Memphis and kind of showed me the road, man. And that's I always love you and Jamie for that, and respect you, and love working with you. Anytime, man. Anytime. Call me up anytime. I love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, Jimmy, when we come back from break, what do we got for the people?
We got Ask Wolfie D anything.
Oh,
man.
Hell.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trash.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Stay in touch. Good luck to you guys. Hope it works out. Send me something where I could share this. Let me know when it's going to be on. I'll make sure to share it on my social media.
It'll drop Monday, and I'm sure that either today or tomorrow, Jimmy will go ahead and drop the coming soon. Yeah. And that won't have any links on it, but you can share that, and then Monday.
Well, yeah, give me something to share so I could,
Thank you.
Use my social media full. So,
hey, brother. You said you don't do a lot of these. I will say this, and this is not bragging. Please don't take it this way, but be prepared for about 1 billion other podcasts to ask you now. So I'm just saying.
Fucking PG-13 was over, bro.
Yeah.
Real quick, what was the name of that song you guys used to come out to? Nah.
Oh, that's
the Hot Stepper.
Never could remember that shit.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, anytime, Wolfie, stay in touch. It's nice meeting you, buddy. And,
thank you.
If you ever need anything, just give me a call, man.
We appreciate
you, dude.
Very much.
Y'all have a good day, brother.
All right.
Thanks, man.
DJ, hit the music. All right, we are back with Ask Wolfie D anything, and man, Trailer Park Trash. What a cool dude. Like you said, Frank Miller. I mean, he's just really got some great stories. And it's the cool part about it is like, if you look at his history, the dude was an absolute OVW staple. I mean, brother was there forever and did all kinds of other stuff too, man. Really, really, like I say, I look at the resume and the resume is there,
Yeah. Yeah. And, man, one thing I forgot to mention to him is that, and I don't know how much the listeners know. I'm sure they do. If they're listening to us, I'm sure they know about the Netflix OVW thing that's coming on.
I know.
It's called Wrestlers. And it slipped my mind because he was telling someone good stories. It just slipped my mind. And I don't even know if he knows. But I watched the trailer for that Trailer Park Trash was on the trailer. I just put that together right on the
Trailer Park Trash. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I saw it, and then he's on the trailer doing his leg drop there. I don't know if he knows that, but
it's like the first old school clip in the thing, because it starts with that Haley J girl, and then it goes to Cash Flow, which tripping me out, bro, because I remember working with that dude at Porter's, and then he was at Saw, and I honestly liked him, but I didn't like the other guys with him sometimes. It was just some of the other guys were fine, but
yeah, he's been around for a while, man, and then seems like he's got something good going up there too. But yeah, so Trailer Park Trash is in the trailer.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively, and literally twice, actually.
Well,
anyway.
It makes me think, I wonder if Wolfie D is, but we'll see.
I didn't see Slash. I did not.
No, I mean, I'm saying in the show, though. If you pop up in the show as a clip or something. Yeah.
It would have to be with Batista.
Right. Have to be
Probably.
with Batista. Or maybe Brock Lesnar or something. But,
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
we shall see. But kudos to them and Al.
For sure, dude. Because, I think when we had Al on the show, he talked about he was working with something like that. And so if you think about that, that's 2 years ago. Yeah. And he said that off the air, but there was plans that this would maybe be starting. And yeah, man, big stuff. Okay, yeah, so good for them. I'm excited to watch it. First of all, it's cool because it's just like home stuff, man. It's not WWE, it's not AEW, it's not the same old stuff. It's more wrestling, but different, and I like that. And the one thing that really I liked that Trash said was that OVW was considered the Harvard of wrestling schools, and I never thought of that. I never heard that, but dude, that's a great way to say it, because if you think, then that makes like you and him and Chris Michaels and Sean Casey and you all were the professors, And then you had the Dean Danny, and you know what I'm saying? Think about that, Professor
D over here.
Professor D, good Lord. Would that be of anatomy? Never mind. All right. All right. Well, let's get on with the questions here, Wolfie D. So with the first question, it always goes to my homie Ben Martin. And he has this question. He says, if you were able and a company would come to you and say, we want you to wrestle for us, but you can only be one gimmick that you worked under, which would it be?
Slash.
Yeah.
Ghost. I loved being that. And I mean, I love being Wolfie D. And actually, I feel like Wolfie D is more well known and all that stuff. And it is. Yeah. It's more of a fun type of gimmick. But I don't know. It's two different styles, really. I mean, I guess I did change a lot in my style of wrestling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. I just, under the right circumstances, I just really like that gimmick. And also, if they came to me right now, Wolfie D would be, like John Cena to the kids,
Right.
What's
the
this
kids
guy?
would,
Who's the fucking guy?
Wolfie D likes John Cena, guys. Look. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But then again, and this is not a knock at all, okay? Because I don't know the dude and I really ain't watched him wrestle that much. But it's like the LA Knight is getting, he's acting like The Rock and to this generation, it's weird.
Yeah.
That. But everybody, things do go in cycles, especially with wrestling, but hell, in the world in general. Look at some of the just fashion styles that just recycle themselves. A lot of things from the 80s have come back now.
It's like every 30, 40 years. The stuff we wore when we were kids comes back, and now it's like back to where the 80s is popular. Because you remember in the 80s, like the 50s and 60s were big. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember growing up in the 80s, like they did Back to the Future and all this stuff was really 50s, and the 50s were really popular. And I think it's like 30, 40 years, because I remember last decade, everybody was like into the 90s kind of. And, I remember in the 90s, we were into the 70s big time, like the Black Crows and all these retro style stuff. So it feels like there's always like a big nostalgia kick, for the younger generation, which is a trip, The post you made the other day was hilarious because it reminded me of my 17-year-old son, Cash, who basically it's like wearing a hoodie or wearing joggers. And we went dude, it was like 100 degrees. And I was like, brother, you guys, and I even like loaned him some shorts because he didn't bring shorts. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 100 degrees, man.
And they keep saying like the schools are cold or whatever. I mean, okay, but I know that yellow bird ain't. I'm telling you, man. And I'll throw Isaiah out under the bus right now. But he went to school the other day. It was 102 heat index here.
Yeah.
And he goes to school in a black hoodie and a black Orlando Magic jersey over top of that. Yeah. And you know how the jerseys are. I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, I would crawl out of my skin. They would have to stop the bus or I'd jump out the window. Ain't no way.
Yeah, no joke, man. Because I mean, honestly, I don't know how they do it, brother. Because like I would sweat, man, and I'm a hot-blooded guy, so I don't think I could do that.
I'm also a comfort guy. Sometimes don't care what the cool thing is.
Right.
I was in high school and middle school, especially. Man, I'd wear sweatpants almost every day. And I don't know if motherfuckers thought I was broke. And, you know, we weren't rich. We were probably closer to the lower. But, you know, I hardly ever wore jeans. I still don't. They're not comfortable.
Yeah. I did wear jeans for a really long time because I was in a rock band and I thought I had to, you know, like look cool and stuff. Yeah. Dude, and I'll be honest, man, you know, playing a show on Broadway, 4 hours of country music, sweating, boozing, you know, and you're having to peel those nasty smoke-filled Tootsie's pants off. Oh, brother. I was like, man, I wish it were cool to wear sweatpants. I wish it were cool to wear gym shorts because I would do that. But, I mean, you know, that was my sold-out days. That was my days that I sold out. But anyway, had to be done. All right.
So Ben's question of what character I would choose turned us into a fashion talk segment.
Yeah, slashing. Get it? I was curious if you and he ever had a tag team called Trailer Park Slash or
no,
Trailer
but
Park
there
Flash.
was times. Yes, there were times when, hell, probably all three of us were in the ring at the same time, and you got Cornette going, and Slash throws trash, and then here comes Flash.
Oh my God, it's amazing!
You can totally find that, I guarantee you.
And then there's Dean Hill, like, I tell you. Yeah, anyway, that's great. I gotta find that, man, for sure. So, trash, throw Slash into Flash, but yeah. So I was thinking of that question, but there were too many good questions to ask that I didn't want to just waste that one. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. If I ask a question and he gives a good long answer, chances are you'll think of something to ask. And if I don't get a good one in, sometimes I'll miss it. And then the conversation moves along too far. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to take it. That's just like podcasting interviewing 101 right there. Don't let the conversation go past, because if you do, you may never get to ask that question. And then if you do, it's going to be really backwards. So that was a free lesson, and that's the last one for y'all podcasting. Never mind. Anyway, so the next question is from Cause Effect on Instagram. So I like this question, and this is interesting because maybe you can't say, but what if anything, did you all carry in the pockets of your Nation of Domination coats, or will it incriminate you?
Probably in WWE. I don't think I was ever that ballsy, because you never know if something's going to fall out your pocket.
Sure. Yeah.
No doubt. And not, we weren't wrestling full matches, usually stuff like that, but there have been times when there's been things in my pockets that shouldn't have been in other places. That was kind of, and my pockets on one of my red shorts that I wore a lot were actually a little bit sewn shut, and so the little change pocket in the front was a good little spot, and also sock,
Yeah. I mean, I can just imagine what would be in the pockets of Jamie's. I mean,
I'll tell you a lot of things. This brings up kind of another topic here. A lot of old timers, and I've done it before, but a lot of old timers, man. They would, especially if you got your payoff beforehand, or if you had money on you or anything like that. That's just going in your boot.
Yeah, totally, because it's the safest spot. Yeah,
and there, you never know, and fortunately, man, there hasn't been, around me at least, that many guys that weren't trusted like that, because that's the one thing that was like, you did not go in someone else's bag,
right.
Even really, if it was like one of your fucking buddies, man. You know, you just don't go in their bag, you know. Even I know I've had times where, hey, man, you got any tape? Yeah, it's in my bag. I'm not going in your bag. Go get it. It's kind of like a woman's purse.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. I don't like doing that ever. Michelle's like, go get this out of my purse. I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm not doing that. But no, I'm just thinking, let's think of things that could be in Jamie's pockets here. So I'm thinking of like a 14 karat.
Think about that.
Yeah, no. Besides the obvious, 14 karat gold herringbone necklace. Okay, I'd say that. Maybe like a pair of brass knuckles, possibly gimmicked or not.
Yeah, a chain. I mean, now you can put a lot of that was another advantage to having shorts on, man. If you had a gimmick finish or whatever,
you
could usually, put a chain in your pocket or whatever. That was a little risky that it would come out of the pocket before it needed to. But man, and I've done it both ways. Like when you got a chain in your tights and you work a match, it goes time to get that sumbitch. It'd be around by your butthole. And you gotta try to dig it out of your ass to fucking get it sometimes, man. And that wasn't a fun experience. Plus, it makes you look stupid as hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, well, I just always curious if you had a bunch of stuff in the pockets, but you guys were taking so many bumps in those jackets, and you were all over the place in those that to put anything really incriminating in there would not be the smartest.
That stays in your back or in the car.
All right. Thank you, Cause Effect. Next question. Did working with the WWF help the USWA or hurt, in your opinion?
I mean, it helped us, man. It gives you credibility, you know, that, hey, we're not dead yet. I mean, we're still doing this. I mean, and obviously it helped everybody's payoff because Jerry Lawler versus The Undertaker on the main event at the Coliseum is going to draw, you know, so
absolutely
you need to be on that show. But yeah, it helped because then you also knew that they're watching you. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
I don't see things like that hurt. I mean, I understand probably anybody that says, oh, build your own stars, all that stuff. We still did that. We had good enough bookers and all that knew, you know, even though we went to WWE and wrestled with Smoking Guns for the titles and they, you know, beat us, they came to Memphis for us and did not beat. It was a disqualification. So, yeah, we got out of it, you know, and some people hate those types of finishes, but that was a way to do it where we didn't have to get beat at home and they could still give us a little bit of a rub.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, that makes total sense because I think you're right, too. It just gave you that credibility because, heck, there are people coming to the show. It's like, well, we've seen PG-13 wrestle. We've seen Jerry the King Lawler wrestle, but we've never seen Lex Luger and Yokozuna wrestle, you know, and
especially against who they might be wrestling.
Exactly.
WWE.
Exactly. So it's all fresh and I like it. But, you know, I see the point of the question in the long run, but when it comes down to it, that's a good one. Now, I mean, you guys were making stars such as Macho Warrior Rick Hogan and, you know, things, but, you know, we need to do a where is he now deal on that more.
Pretty sure prison.
Anyway, so that is all I got for the questions today, and we thank all of our listeners so much, and especially, you know, the last few shows have just been gangbusters. We greatly appreciate it. You know, Dirty White Boy's already in the top 5. He's actually, you know, and that's just wild. Chase Stevens is knocking on the door. He's almost at 11, I think, and then of course Reggie Be Fine is just growing by the day. So when it comes down to it, thank y'all so much. For sure.
Absolutely. And then thanks again. And we'll see what we can get scrounged up for you next week. It's getting hard. We're raising the bar. Like you just said, we're raising the bar. So it's getting harder and harder to top ourselves. So we'll do the best we can for you guys.
That's what we're doing, y'all. We're doing the best we can.
Absolutely. We're just hanging in there. But thanks again for listening to us on Live and in Color with Wolfie D, and we'll holler at you next week.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school, but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
That's right, it's the Talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Join me, Gene Jackson, for the Jackson Interaction Podcast, where I'll be doing one-on-one interviews with people from the world of professional wrestling, as well as stand-up comedy. You can get them anywhere podcasts are available in both video and audio form, but you can find them all at genejacksonpod.com.
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you're interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at WarrenWolf13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at James Rock Street on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
He
got a cap for your dome.
And here we go. The original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color, from rush your mother, utilize a hubcap, unlike any other. Back in the day, I was N-O-D, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired of suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are, without me name dropping. Wrestling's first white boy coming out hip-hop. Been doing it like this since 92. Laid low for a while and you thought I was through. Listen real close to these rhymes that I've injected. This shit's so sick it makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking, there is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more folks than Obi-Wan or Vader. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You sucker step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. With my finish, I'll straight knock you out. Please allow me to tell you what it's all about. I'm gonna wind it up, then I'm driving it home. It's Wolfie D, baby. I got a cap for your dome. got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome.
This has been a James Rock Street production.